Welcome to Tech in the Right Direction, the podcast. Let's take tech in the right direction to drive social change and close the employment, pay, and culture gap for women in technology. This podcast is focused on helping turn ideas into action and create opportunities for women to advance in the dynamic technology industry. I hope this podcast will inspire and motivate you to encourage more women and girls to seek or grow a career as a woman in technology. Stories about the journey of amazing women in the tech field starts right now.
Ayumi, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So let's get started. Can you share with us a little bit about your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Oh, gee, yes. Well, it was I work today in technology, but I started when I was in university studying arts. So I grew up in South Africa, in Johannesburg. That's where I followed
Mhm.
university, and I did a fine arts degree. When I went out of school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I was good in art, so I thought that would be something good for me. And all I wanted to do was travel afterwards. So for 3 years, I worked for Club Med when I finished university, and so I was lucky enough to go and work 1 year in Tahiti, and then come to Europe for a year, then go to the north of Morocco, north of Africa, then go back to Brazil until I finally decided to quit Club Med and start over again. And then I went into hotel business. I worked in the hotel business and casinos for about 10 years after that. And then at some point, I became the marketing director of this big group, French group of casinos and hotels. And then I started telling myself, but what am I doing this for? What's the purpose of it? I wake up every day and I put all my creativity into trying to find different ways to make people gamble more. And I didn't find that was very satisfactory on my side. And I think, God, what do I really want in life? Is this what I want? What would I like to do? So I wanted to get back to something creative. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be able to be able to work from anywhere in the world, whether at home or traveling, because that's what I love to do with two children at the
Mhm.
time. So I decided to quit my job, and I started taking coding classes, and I learned how to make websites. At the time, it was in 2008, so there was still like CD-ROMs. And then I would take classes at night, and I would learn how to code. And then quite quickly, I learned how to make websites, small apps, and it was the beginning of social media as well for business. And that's how I started becoming a freelancer. And then I made up my first company, Social Brain, and yeah, and that's how I got into the digital world. And then 10 years later, or a couple of years later, I founded this nonprofit organization called Women in Tech to be able to get more women in technology. Because in fact, for the past 40 years, 4 decades, the gender gap in technology has been getting wider and wider. So I wanted to do something for the world, something, to leave a footprint on gender parity. And that's my way of doing it.
Wow, that is just fascinating how, from travel, actually, I was very jealous of all the places you've been because that's amazing. I love to travel and just, one day will make time to do it more. So I really commend you for doing that. And then going into coding all by yourself, teaching yourself coding, that's pretty amazing. And then what you're doing with Women in Tech is even more amazing. So what do you love about leading a global organization? Because your Women in Tech organization is really, truly global with a wide reach. So tell us more about it.
Oh, gee, I love everything about it. First of all, I love the sisterhood, the energy of sisterhood. Although in Women in Tech, there's not only women, there are people of all genders. But I
Mm-hmm.
do love this feeling of helping each other, of having this mission together, a dream together, and working and taking actions towards reaching this dream or this goal. So Women in Tech, for me, it's something very Obviously it's powerful and it's intimate. It's my joy because I can see how we can really make change together. It's something that I started almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, and I really had like no money. I knew no influential people. I had no special contacts, but all I wanted to do was really, I had this dream and I had this purpose, and that was to close this gender gap and to really empower women through education and with skills, so they can harness technology and be able to embrace tech in a much more passionate way, and to be more present. And so because of the community and the people that I met very quickly, it all came together, and it was like a snowball, and seeing how the people's determination, support, love, positive energy for this movement has been it has been really fantastic. And seeing that today, 4 years down the road, we have impacted 200,000 women directly, it just makes me want to cry.
Oh my gosh, gives me goosebumps, to be honest with you. I am just so proud of the work that you're doing. Our podcast, my podcast, and we really have very similar passions. My podcast is really focused on bridging that employment, pay, and culture gap for women. What are you seeing in the industry today? Are we making any strides towards closing that gap, or are we going the wrong way?
What a tricky question, because it can go both ways. Obviously, I want to be positive and say, yes, we are going the right direction, because the awareness that we are creating and the work on the ground that we are doing has shown results. So it is something positive. However, we didn't expect, or no one expected, the pandemic that we're going through. And I think that because of that also, all the years in women empowerment and women's rights, lots of women around the world, we lost that. We went back, lots of years behind because of the situation, the health situation of having to stay at home, of women having to take care of the children more than men, and taking, also care of the home tasks. It has been shown and has been proved that we really, really were the ones who kind of lost the most, who had the most work at home, and the ones who were first to lose their jobs, and also the ones in the most unprivileged areas that had less access to internet or to any mobile devices or to computers. So they were the ones really left behind. So I must say that thank goodness there are lots of beautiful success stories, and there's more and more women taking part, and the movement is really growing. So I feel the more and more support on that. But at the same time, numbers show that because of different things, it's not going as quick as we wanted.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of work to do, but you're absolutely right. The pandemic really set us back, because just in the U.S., there were millions of women that left the workforce for whatever reason. Some were because they had to handle all the home tasks and school and all of that. Others were just, industries that were laying off, and they lost their jobs. So I think, as much progress as we've made, we have to think about how far we went back during the pandemic. But I think it is positive. I agree with you that, the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing, every little piece helps get us closer to bridging that gap. And we all have to do our part. It's not just one person or one group can do this. We all have to do more and more.
Exactly. Yeah, completely agree, Jennifer. Thank you for your podcast and for sharing and growing awareness on the subject as well.
I'm very passionate about it, and I feel honored to have you on the podcast as well.
Thank you.
So what do you think is the best part of being a woman in technology in this field?
What's the best part? Well, it is difficult, but the best part, I would say, is that now people are reaching out for diversity, and I think we have so many things to prove. Everything's out there. So I think if you're creative and if you're ambitious and if you really have like this fire inside us, things are, doors are opening, and if they're not opening, we are going to open them anyway. So I think it's an exciting time to be part of the change, to be one of those trailblazers. And I think women, we have this energy because of, like the Me Too movement and all these different women rights movements that are coming up, that are rising. So I think we have this, it's the right momentum to be here. And I think because of also all the different innovations of what the world's going through, to be able to be part of that and to be able to, show what we are, what we can do, it's something very exciting.
Yes, and we have so much talent. Women have so much talent that they don't put to full use because maybe it's a confidence issue. Maybe they feel like they have to be 100% qualified, all of those things. So, I think this is a great time to show what we can do because, businesses that are run by women are very, very successful. And so we want to encourage more women to take that step forward and try it out, because you'll be amazed how much you can like it. It's an amazing industry.
Yes, definitely. And we have our manifesto that starts with saying that women are tech's most untapped talent. And it's so true.
Oh, I
right?
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. So you've grown women in tech in a very short period. What are some of the challenges you've had to overcome that we can learn from?
Gee, there were so many. Oh, God.
Top two.
Podcast top three. It started like maybe from the beginning. As I said, I had no money and then no one. So for people first to take you seriously, they think yes. I said okay. So I asked for help first because I said, let me try and learn from people who have done it before. And I reached out to a couple of people, and even women and men. They both said to me, start small, start here in your local city where you are, and then just grow slowly and see how it goes. And then don't try and go big right away because that will never work. And I said, well, if I look at it that way, we're going to be here in 2,000 years. We're still going to be here, but I won't be there anymore to do anything, to be part of this change, right? It has to go much quicker. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to start this global right away because it's a global problem, right? So we have to find global solutions and we have to get the global community involved right away. So I would say the first was being taken seriously and not following the rules like as if they were suggested. Getting finance, that was a huge problem as well. Although we are a non-profit, the first event that we did was like the Global Awards in Lisbon so that we could get some awareness. And I thought that because we were going to be celebrating and rewarding the most wonderful women from their achievements from around the world, we're going to have lots of partners or sponsors or people that would like to support that. And in fact, there was no one. So I paid 30,000 euros by myself. And I tried to sell T-shirts in front of Web Summit. I remember, I think, oh God, at least maybe selling T-shirts, people are going to come and help. And when Web Summit saw that, they almost called the police. The police came and said, do you have any, do you have the papers to be able to sign, are you allowed to sell T-shirts? I said, not really. I said, well, show me your papers, please. Show me your passport. And then I said, no, don't worry. I'm going to be getting out. And I had my baby. It was like a 1-year-old baby. He was on my kangaroo in front of me. And I had like my team with me. And then I just picked up, I was like in tears. I picked up all the T-shirts and said, okay, let's just go home and just go. And when we're going home, I had rented a car because of the T-shirts and the baby. I had too much stuff. And the car was getting towed away. And I thought, oh my God, when is it going to get easier, But well.
Oh my gosh.
But when they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that is so true. Right. But at the same time, today I laugh, but I've got like this bitter smile and say, oh goodness, we went through all of this, but it was so much worth it because then that's when we meet the people that really there for the, for the values and for the mission, that they really support you. And I've made friends. They are like sisters to me and have been there throughout, ever since throughout, and have really supported me and taken me, lifted me up together with other women to take this movement everywhere. So That was great as well. And there were so many different ones, trying to get also a loan. I remember going and I said to them, to my bank. And although I have been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, I've never had, it's quite a successful small enterprise. And my banker said to me, yeah, sure, Ayumi, we can do something, but you have to come back with your husband to see what he says because you're married. So I said, I'm sorry, I'm the entrepreneur. Yes, but you're married, so I have to make sure that your husband is okay. So I said, forget about it. So still today, we still have this kind of, attitude and have to go through all these different challenges. I think, oh my God, what world are we living in? Are we still there?
Did you know that there is an increase in the number of women leaving the tech industry? As a woman-owned business, Directions Training has made it our mission and passion to change this statistic. That's why Jennifer created this podcast. We showcase insight from everyday women for everyday women in the tech industry. Do you know other people that would benefit from tuning in? Share the link and help us drive the advancement of women in the tech industry. Do you have a journey or know of someone that our listeners would benefit from hearing about? Reach out to us at directionstraining.com/podcast. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and wherever you find your podcasts. Now, back to the show.
So true. Wow, those were great stories and shows your resistance and grit that we all need in order to do something that's worthwhile. I started my business 30 years ago and went through similar challenges. When you start, you need money, you need people's support, you need clients, you need all of those things. And we all start small, but yeah, it's great work that you've done. And I love and commend you for thinking globally from the beginning, because that's not something that most people would do. They would start out small, grow slowly like they told you to. But you had that growth mindset, and that's how you got it to where it is today in less than 4 years. So that's amazing. Great job.
Thank you.
So we're both extremely passionate about gender equality in the tech industry. How can we scale our efforts so that we see change in this lifetime and make a difference, right? So I really want to see those numbers go up. So every day my focus is, what can I do to make a difference? And I know you feel the same way. So, but the scaling is so important because we need to get thousands of women, not just, not just 50 or 100 or 200, and you got to 200,000 women that you've impacted. So what else can we do to scale our efforts so that we can see the change faster?
So we have our mission today is to be able to directly empower 5 million women by the end of the decade, right? By 2030, meeting 5 of the SDGs. And for that, I think we have 4 focus areas, which are education. I think education is so important for us to be able to get the pipeline of women in technology wider, open. And then obviously business, enterprise, social inclusion, making sure that no one's left behind, so digital equity, and then obviously advocacy. I think what we need today is to really, what we're going to be working on very soon, and I'm going to talk about it, is to be able to join forces, because I feel that there are lots of scattered initiatives around the world, and some in the same place, where we all have the same mission or vision, right? Some are more focused in just events, some are focused in education, but I think we all have to get together because we're not competition here. I think we're all working towards, having this impact on these women. And I think that if we learn to have and to make like a UN of women in technology, you see, where we say, okay, what are the programs that we can work together? Okay, so what are, we don't have to have 100, even if we can focus on maybe on 2 programs, maybe one for business, one for education, one for digital equity, and then, one to create more awareness. I think we can all work together to really put forward, because women in tech today, so we have about 70,000 members. But if we get together with girls who code and girls in tech or women in AI and women in whatever business, very quickly we put the top 15 initiatives together, we represent right away 1 million women, you see? So the power of strike is so much more important in very easily, just, okay, what can we do together? I think we have to really try and find a way to collaborate on something impactful very, very shortly, so we can, so we can all work, on something combined.
I love that, and I think that's how we are going to scale, and I'm in. So if you need a skilling partner, that's what we do, is work on skilling, from certifications to leadership to lots of different types of skilling to get education to women so that they can, go and be more confident. So I'm in for one of those pillars.
Yay!
If you
Thank you, Jennifer. So first thing is for yes, that is for us joining forces. But the second thing, which is not the smallest one, is we need funding, right? We need support, because although we can put all the energy in the world, which we are and we will, but we also need to fund the teachers. We need to fund the computers. We need to fund things. So for this, we need support from government, from corporates. We need the money. We can do the work, but we need the money behind it, so we can follow up.
Absolutely. And through our networks, we can, grow our reach and get corporate sponsors and get people who have the same passion as we do to, initiate some of that. So I think we can get that funding as well. Do you have, what percentage of your members are in the U.S.?
Ooh, I can't say the percentage right now like this, because I don't have the numbers. But we have mostly for the moment on the East Coast, we have US members. One of our advisory boards is Dr. Crystal Johnson. So she's Deputy Director of Technology and Investment at NASA in Goddard Space Center. And our Chief Digital Officer, also Laurie Rodriguez, she's also based in Connecticut.
So the reason I asked is I am running and launching a program right now for skilling for Azure fundamentals as well as AI fundamentals. And this is a certification program that is right now funded for U.S. underserved communities. And so I would love to connect with your U.S. counterparts so that they can evangelize this program. It's no cost to the women, and it's specifically for women. And they can sign up. It starts at the end of September, and it goes for a month. So it's very time respectful, so that women can take an hour, hour and a half out of each day and, focus on skilling themselves and getting a certification. So if you're interested, would love to connect with you separately and share.
I would love that. I'm sure that our US chapter, they're going to be very, very delighted. So I'm going to put you in contact with Laurie and Alex right away after our call. Thank you.
Great. Sounds great. Because again, if we can help them and they can get certifications, and these are the basic certifications, once they get that, then they feel empowered, because now they can talk the jargon, they can, they can understand the technology part of the business. And the last programs we had so much success because it really impacted their lives completely. So really excited to share that with you.
Oh, great. Yeah. I think through education and through skilling, that's really how things are going to be changing.
Yes, I agree. All right. So let's talk about work-life balance. Which I know nothing about. But can you share some best practices that maybe have worked for you? Because I think all women can learn from each other.
Well, I think one of the good things about pandemic, let's try and see the positive in everything, right, is to democratize. We say democratize? I don't know. Sorry. My English sometimes I try to put Portuguese or French words inside, but to make homework and working from home, remote work more acceptable and something current. And I think this for women is something very, it's really good. One of the reasons when I went into tech, in 2008 for that was I wanted to be able to work from anywhere. So I think for your life balance, it's good. Obviously, if you want to, but I think to be able to to be able to travel and to be able to take care of, be more flexible with the hours because of for your children, for the family, or even if you have other passions, if you want to do sport or if you want to do, some arts or anything else. I think to be able to own your own time and be flexible about it, that's the best thing, companies and you can do to be able to be performant as well, because this way you can really try and fit in all the passions and the things that you have to do, whether it's home tasks, family, or, your own passions. So I think that's a good thing. I think you have to, I don't know. I think all that we do, we really have to be passionate about. So, like I work all the time. I'm a bad example. I really work all the time.
Yeah,
but
me
I'm so
too.
passionate about it. For me, it's not work. So people will tell me, "No, Ayumi, come on. You're working all the time. You have to rest." I said, but for me, it's not work. When I see things advancing, like talking to you, meeting new people, seeing more impact, doing opening chapters, for me, just so much joy. It's on the contrary, it's like a present, like your efforts are being recognized and your efforts have, are bringing up their fruits. So maybe just finding passion and then making sure that you don't leave your family behind. I think that's the main thing. If you can have an eye on the family, because that's also the basics. That's the meaning of everything as well for me.
Yeah, I think you have to be passionate about your work. You have to love what you do. And one of the things I say is that, there is a mixture and a blend between work and home. You have to blend it. Otherwise, it'll make you crazy. So if you need to take your child to the doctor at 10 o'clock in the morning, then you need to do that. Other times you might have to work on the weekend, then you do that. So you kind of balance it out. And that gives you less stress. I think in the old days, we used to be like 8 to 5, and you just did work and then you just did home. And today that doesn't work as well.
Yeah, completely agree. Yes, I think be less, be more flexible and stop thinking, okay, I have to work from 9 to 5 and then afterwards I have to take care of this and that. It's okay if we do it differently. It's okay if we cut the hours. It's okay, if you work a lot, then we can work in the weekend, but then you take some other days off. As long as you, I think as long as everyone's happy about it, I think it's good, and that your family accepts it also. I think it's good.
And you mentioned remote work, and I think that's very critical to work-life balance as well. If you take it at its simplest form and you don't have to commute back and forth, you've now gained maybe 2 hours in the day, that you didn't have to drive and you didn't have to drive back or take the bus or whatever. So I think remote work really gives women a good, balance. As long as you know how to structure your day, you have to work when you have to work. You can't go do laundry when you have to work. But other than that, I think, it really is I think people are feeling really good about remote work.
Yes, definitely. And I think we're not children anymore, I think, people, they know what they have to do. And so the old-fashioned way of making sure that someone works just because they're behind the computer doesn't mean they're working, right? Just because they sit down on the desk.
That's exactly what I say. People who are going to work from home or the office. People who are not going to work, no matter where they are, they're not going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So you've traveled to so many wonderful places. What is your most favorite place that you've traveled to and why?
That's a tricky question, and I can't answer just one because.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
So I'd say, well, Brazil, because that's where I was born. And I feel that in Brazil, you have so much this love for life that is contagious. And I love that. Africa, that's where I was born. So it's my second home. And I think there is something very special in Africa. The sense of Mother Earth, this, I can't explain. And also because when I was in South Africa, I arrived there, it was during the apartheid, and I saw the liberation of the country, Mandela come out. I remember that, and he was like he still is one of my role models. And fighting for this democracy and the way he fought for democracy, but in such a non-violent, positive way. I found that so for me, Africa, represents lots of things. Tahiti, maybe the most beautiful place, like just for the coconut and the sea, I think it's Tahiti. Polynesian Islands, I think it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And then obviously when I saw the desert for the first time, oh my God, I thought I was, okay, I can die now. It was in the UAE, in Sharjah. I said, okay, I've seen the mountains, I've seen snow, I've seen this, and now I've seen the desert. Okay, life's good.
Oh my gosh, you mentioned all the places that are on my bucket list. So once travel starts again internationally, I'm going. That's awesome. All right, so in closing, what advice would you give to a woman considering a career in tech?
I would say reach out to a community, to other women that are already in technology to find out more about it, because there's so many different things that you can go into tech. Tech doesn't mean just coding. Tech can be so many different things, from project management to UX design to blockchain. So I think maybe come to Women in Tech. So it's women-in-tech.org, and there's a button saying get involved, and once you're there you can join the community, and we have lots of different network and meetups where we just talk about the possibilities that there are, so that they know what's out there, and then once they find out what they want to do, so we can help them out, so they can find help to get them there. So either in skilling, as you said, exactly, or is it going to be, I don't know, finding some other program, or is it finding a mentor? I think the best thing to do is to get into the community so that we can help, and then they can ask all the questions out and get support. I think it's important.
That's great. Yeah, that's great advice, to just get into the community where you can ask questions, where you can learn and see if that's the right fit for you.
Exactly.
Ayumi, this was amazing. It's such an honor to have you. Thank you for taking your time. Could you share with our listeners how they can get a hold of you?
Yes, so I am, mostly on social media, I think. So either on LinkedIn, I'm pretty much present, or basically on LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, you put my name, you find me, and I kind of answer quite frequently the questions or the messages. So please feel open to reach out there.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. It was an honor to have you, and I look forward to having you as a guest in the future.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Tech in the Right Direction. Please take a minute to subscribe or follow so that you never miss an episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you. See you next week.
From IT skill enhancements to end-user adoption training, Directions Training is your resource to help optimize the effectiveness of your technology investments. Over 500,000 students have taken advantage of our wide selection of technology and business training solutions, covering the most popular applications today, such as Microsoft 365, Azure, Windows 10, and more. As a podcast listener, we invite you to take advantage of an exclusive offer. Receive 30 days of free access to our Microsoft official curriculum, on-demand courses for IT professionals or end users. Visit us at www.directionstraining.com/podcast to claim this offer today. Hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Success is a journey. Ask for directions.